गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, we are in this Viveka Chudamani. We were reading the 33rd shloka in the last class when we closed the class. We just closed it in the middle, somewhere in the middle. This shloka is, I will read again. Shrotriyo vrujino kamahato yo brahmavittamah brahmanyuparatasyanto nirindhana ivanalaha ahetukadaya sindhurbandhura anamatam satam. So this is the shloka. So the point is, these are the qualities of a guru. What type of guru one has to approach. And we have seen such thing, some similar lines earlier also. Shankaracharya is repeating, or rather, say, giving a summary of what was told earlier. Shrotriyaha, I explained this particular line, that he is a person who is well grounded in Shruti because he has to answer all our doubts. Then Avrujinaha, a person who is following the path of Dharma, sinless, totally sinless, and who is not, doing anything, any adharmic deed. Then akamahataha, this is very important. Akamahata is, kama is desire. A person desires only when he feels something when he feels himself incomplete. Akamahata means one who is not afflicted by desire, which means that he has found fullness. He has realized that fullness. He has realized the fullness in him. That is, that his identity is the same as that of the Supreme Reality. So such a person who has identified himself with the infinite, he cannot have any desires. So such a person is akamahataha. This word akamahata you also get in Upanishads several times. Then akamahato yo brahmavittamaha. Brahmavittamaha, the best among the people who have realized Brahman. There is no question of best or better or good, because all brahmavittamaha, brahmavid, brahmaiva bhavati. Just for emphasis, the best among the realized persons. Then Brahmani uparataha. So this thing we have to explain. Brahmani uparataha. Uparati we know. Uparati means withdrawal. Withdrawal into what? Brahmani uparatihi. Brahmani, withdrawal into Brahman. Means he has withdrawn himself from all the external objects, from the pleasures which are given by the external objects, because he has realized that all these things are totally ephemeral, and that his nature is totally nothing. It is not something which is incomplete. It is not something which is deriving happiness from Vishayas. There are two words in Vedanta. One is Vishayananda and the other is Brahmananda. Vishayananda is the pleasure we get when we enjoy an object. We have an object, we possess it, we enjoy it, we experience it. Then the pleasure which we get to our senses, that is what is called Vishayananda. Vishaya means an object. Brahmananda is, it is not an object to be attained, it is something which has to be realized. You have realized that your nature is something different. So after that realization, this seeking for external pleasures comes to an end. So such a person is called Brahmani uparataha. He has withdrawn into that. Shantaha, and his mind is so tranquil. Our mind is not tranquil because we are tempted by each and every object. So whenever I see an object, my mind gets tempted, my mind gets dragged away here and there. So it is not Shanta. Shanta means completely tranquil, completely, which has attained that level of equanimity. So long as my mind runs after things, it is not Shanta. So this teacher is a person who is a Shanta, who is not running after things, whose mind does not have any sort of vikshepa. Vikshepa is another word. Vikshepa means getting tossed about. Vikshepa is that state of mind which is jumping to various things from time to time. That is vikshepa. That is Shanta means vikshepa rahita. Then nirindhana ivanalaha. This is also an important word. Analaha. Analaha means fire. Nirindhana iva analaha. Nirindhanaha iva analaha nirindhanaha iva. That is, just like fire where there is no fuel. So you had put some fire earlier and then something is glowing. And then the fire has totally come to, that fuel has totally come to an end, but still those flames are there. So which means the fuel which is fueling that fire, it is no longer there. That is, all these Vishayas which have been coming, all these Vishayas means these objects which have been coming and then igniting that fire in us. So all those Vishayas, the objects have ceased. Because this desire is compared usually to a fire. Desire is a fire which consumes everything. Suppose if you have seen a yajna, if you have seen some sort of yajna, that ceremony, there lot many people, these Ritviks and all these people, they will be pouring all these oblations into the fire. They put some coconut, they put some other fruit, various types of fruits and a lot of ghee, etc., etc. It gives such a very fine odor. By the time you come out, all our clothes will be full of such nice odor. So anyway, so the more you give, the more the flames grow. So the desire also is compared to such a thing where the more you give, the desire also grows more. The more you give, the desire also grows more. That is what is called anala. Anala, the word anala also means na plus alam is called anala. Alam means enough. Alam in Sanskrit, alam means enough. Na plus alam. Fire never says alam, alam. It never says enough. The more you put, the more it grows. So this desire is some compared to this anala. So the more there is a shloka also, najatu kamah kamanam upabhogena shamyate. Havisha Krishna, there is some line. Havisha, by oblations, just as the fire grows, the kama also grows like that. It is compared to a desire. It is compared to fire. So here, nirindhana iva analaha. This anala, this fire is there, but all the fuel has been withdrawn. All the fuel has ceased to exist. It has ceased to exist. So that means this fine fire will be there for some time, it will go away. So this, in fact, in Gita also we have come across one line, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. That is in chapter 4. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param društva nivartate. It means niraharasya dehinaha. Ahara means ahriyate iti aharaha. Whatever we take in is ahara, isn't it? The meaning of ahara means food. The etymological meaning is ahriyate iti aharaha. Whatever we take in is ahara. So not necessarily food. All sensory experiences which we have, I see a film, that is an ahara for my eye. I smell a nice rose, nice flower, that is an ahara for my nose. I have some nice tasty lunch, so that is ahara for my tongue. Or something else, that is ahara. So like that, all the sensory experiences which we have, they are all ahara. So niraharasya dehinaha. For somebody who doesn't pursue these sensual pleasures, vishaya vinivartante. All these objects, they gradually go back. They gradually withdraw. Because you no longer seek them. When you seek them only, they come. If you don't seek them, they withdraw. Then rasavarjam, that means, but still the taste may be lingering. Taste means the desire for them may be lingering. And the desire also drops off. Rasopyasya param društva nivartate. When he realizes, param društva means once you realize that supreme, then that rasa, the taste for it also will go. So that is how this nirindhana iva analaha. This gentleman, the teacher, has become like that fire where that fuel has totally ceased to exist. So that is the meaning of nirindhana iva analaha. So the supply of sense objects has totally ceased. Then the next line is ahetuka daya sindhuhu. Ahetuka daya sindhuhu. Sindhu means ocean. Daya sindhu means a ocean of compassion. Ocean of love. A ocean of not exactly love here. Daya means compassion. An ocean of compassion. Then what? Ahetuka. Ahetuka means there is absolutely no reason, no agenda. There is no, motive for him. It is a motiveless love, motiveless compassion. That is ahetuka. A jnani has got an ahetuka love because jnani looks upon everybody else as his own self. That is what we have seen as Sarvatma Bhava. Sarvatma Bhava is he realizes that every other prani, every other being is as good as himself. It is like his own self. Because the same supreme reality is there in every being. Shunichaiva Shvapakesha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Sama does not mean equal. Sama there we have seen Sama refers to Brahma. Sama does not mean that all these people should be held on equal pedestal, etc. It's not like that. Sama means Brahma. You are seeing Brahman in all those things. Like Rudra Bhashi, in Rudram you see Namo Mahadbhyah Shullakebhyascha Namo. On one hand you respect the Mahadbhyah, great people, Shullakebhyah, all these silly people. So all the people are appearances of the same Brahman. So that is the great long list of all types of people, which we come across in Rudra Prashna. Sorry. So like that, Ahetuka Daya Sindhu, a person who has realized that Brahman, he has love, a motiveless love, motiveless compassion for everyone. Then Daya Sindhuhu, Bandhuhu, Anamatam Satam. Bandhuhu means he is a relative for whom? Anamatam Satam, for those good people who come to him with obedience. Anamatam, Namatam, Namat, Nama means what? Doing Namaste. That is showing obedience. Anamatam Satam is a Shashti Bahuvachana. So Anamatam Satam, for those good people who approach him with obedience. This man is a bandhu. Bandhu means a relative, doesn't mean that he is like a relative. But bandhu means he is compassionate to them. He gives his knowledge to them. So that is this shloka. The next shloka I will read. Tam aradhya gurum bhaktya prahva prashraya sevanaihi prasannam tamanuprapya pruched jnatavyam Tam aradhya gurum bhaktya. The next sentence talks about Tam gurum pruchet. That is the sentence. Tam gurum pruchet. One should ask that guru. Pruchet means one should ask. Tam gurum pruchet. What? How? Tam gurum aradhya. Aradhya means having served him. Having gone to him obediently, you have to win his confidence. You have to win his love and affection. And then Aradhya, having served him, Bhaktya, with devotion, Prahva, Prashraya, Sevanaihi, how to serve him? Prahva, Prashraya, Sevana. Prahva means to bend. Bend means not exactly bending and whatnot, it is showing obedience, that's all. Prahva, we need not literally take that he has to prostrate and whatnot. Prahva, but that is he has to show his obedience, that is desire to know. When a desire to know is there, then obviously we are obedient to people. When there is no desire to know, there won't be obedience. So prahva, so he shows his inclination, deep desire by showing obedience. Prashraya, prashraya means winning confidence. Prashraya, winning confidence. Prashraya, sevanaihi, sevanaihi means by attending on him, or sevanaihi, by doing some sort of service to him. Then prasannam tam anuprapya. So then prasanna means when the teacher has become very, very favorable to you. Prasanna varado bhava, you come across in stotrams. So prasanna, when the teacher has become very favorable, tam anuprapya, having approached him, pruchet, one has to ask. What? Ask what? Atmanaha jnatavyam. Atmanaha, that is about Atma. About Atma, what all you have, about the self, what all we have to ask? Jnatavyam. Jnatavyam is that which has to be known. What all has to be known about Atman, we have to ask that gentleman. So then how, what exactly is he asking? He is it is shown in the, so one second, in this shloka, is there anything? Not much in this shloka. Okay. So the next shloka talks about how this gentleman, this student, goes to the teacher. Swamin namaste nataloka bandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdhau mamuddhar atmiya kataksha drushtya rujvyati karunya sudhabhivrushtya. So this last line is slightly a tongue twister. Rujvya ati karunya sudhabhivrushtya. Rujvyati karunya sudhabhivrushtya. So that is it. So the point here is, Hey Swamin, Namaste. Oh my Lord, oh my revered teacher, Namaste, salutations to you. Mam Uddhara, you uplift me. Mam Uddhara. Uddhara means, Ut means up. Hara means take away. Mam Uddhara means, you please uplift me. So that is the basic sentence here. Swamin Mam Uddhara. So he says, Swamin Namaste. Namaste is Namaha plus Te is Namaste. To you, my Namaskaram, my salutation to you. Then, hey Nataloka Bandho. Who is this Swamin? Some more adjectives to this Swamin. Nataloka Bandho. So you are the Bandhu, you are the friend, philosopher and guide for those who approach you. Nataloka. Those who approach you. Nata. Avanata. Namadhatu only. Namadhatu. Nata. Nata means one who is doing namaskara is Nata. Nataloka Bandho. So for you who are kind to those who approach you with obedience, then hey Karunya Sindhu, same Daya Sindhu, same thing we have seen earlier. Sindhu means ocean, Karunya Sindhu means ocean of compassion. Hey ocean, hey ocean of compassion. Patitam Bhavabdhau Mam Uddhara. You uplift me. And what type of me I am? What type of me? Bhavabdhau Patitam. One who is submerged in this ocean of samsara. Bhava means what? Bhava means being. To be. Bhu dhatu is the same as the English be. Bhava. Bhavabdhi. That is the ocean of existence, the ocean of being. So in that ocean of being, because why is it called an ocean? We have seen in earlier shlokas. This ocean which is having so many say wild say jantus, wild say animals called say sea animals, like sharks, whales, etc., which swallow you, which bite you, say drag you, crocodiles, so all types of things. So bhavabdhau mam uddhara. How to do this uddharana? Atmiya kataksha drushtya, by your graceful looks. Kataksha drushtya. So this kataksha also is an interesting word. Kataksha actually is not exactly seeing straight. Kataksha is just seeing, even a side glance. A side glance is called kataksha. That means even your straight, you need not even direct your look on me. Even a side glance will uplift me. So that is, it is a sort of atishayokti. Atishayokti is, in English we call it hyperbole, isn't it? So sometimes Shankaracharya also uses certain hyperboles, because Shankaracharya also is a good poet. So we see the poet in Shankaracharya in some of these poems. In some of these poems, of course, when it comes to philosophy, there won't be any poetry, but still it is in the introductory stage. Then Mamuddhara Atmiya Kataksha Drushtya, by your graceful, say, side glances. Even that side glance is called Kata Aksha. Kata means end, Kataksha. This is side glances. Then Rujvya. Rujvya means Ruju. Ruju means, here of course straight, not in a different meaning. Straight means without any guile, without any sort of deceitfulness. Ruju Swabhava is Arjavam, you see. Yeah. Arjavam, Ruju Swabhavam, honest, straightforward, decent, and then without any guile or agenda. So that sort of thing is Ruju. That is without any guile or deceit, not hiding anything. That also is there. No malice, no, not hiding anything. Straight away you will teach. So that is it. Ma Muddhara Atmiya Kataksha Drushtya Rujvya. That is Rujvya. Ruju becomes Rujvi Drushti. Rujvya Drushtya. Rujvi Drushtihi. Rujvi refers to Drushtihi. Drushti means looks. Rujvya Drushtya means by your say straight looks. Straight means here in a figurative sense, because earlier he used the word kataksha. So here without malice, honest, very friendly, so that in that sense. Ati karunya sudhabhivrushtya. Ati karunya sudha. Karunya, compassion. Karunya sudha means the nectar of compassion. And then sudha abhivrushtya. So you are raining that nectar of compassion on me. So you please rain that nectar of compassion on me. Sudha. Sudha means nectar. Amrutam, what we call Amrutam, Sudha. So that you rain that, that compassion. You rain that compassion on me. Nectar of compassion, sorry. That nectar of compassion on me. So then, this Rujusvabhava is a very great quality, that is lack of any sort of deceitfulness, lack of any malice, lack of any dissemblance, no dissembling nature. So that is what is Rujusvabhava. Then what should he ask is the next shloka. Next shloka talks about what he has to ask. So he goes, okay, my dear sir, I am actually burning, I am actually scorched by all these all these problems of the world, and then you please uplift me and then pour some cold, not cold water, you please soothe me with your kind words. So that is what he is going to ask. The next shloka, Durvara samsara davagnitaptam dodhuyamanam duradrushtavataihi bhitam prapannam paripahi mrutyoho sharanyamanyadyadaham na jane. So here he says, Mam mrutyoho paripahi. Oh my dear Lord, Mam, me, mrutyoho paripahi. Save me from mrutyu, save me from death. So here the question is will that realized person not going to die? Is he not going to die? So he is definitely going to die. So the mrityu, we have to take in a different sense. Mrityu does not mean the fall of the body. Mrityu is the notion of mrityu in a person's mind. As we see in Parikshit in Mahabhagavatam. So in the beginning, he has that fear of death. So as he listens to all this Vedanta in that during that period of 7 days, he overcomes that fear of death because he realizes that there is no such thing called death. Ajnanam vai mrutyuhu. Vedanta says Ajnanam is mrutyu. That is, ignorance is death. What is ignorance? Identifying myself with this body-mind complex is mrutyu. So if I cease to identify myself with this body-mind complex, if I cease to identify myself with whatever social identity that the entire society has given to me, then, and if I identify with something else, I cease to identify with this, it is okay, that is one part. Then what is my identity? My identity should be something different, isn't it? Suppose I start identifying with the whatever is that supreme reality, and I see everything else also, not only me as supreme reality, but you and everything else as supreme reality, then there is no concept of death. And whatever is this Chaitanyam, which is there in all the beings, this Chaitanyam or consciousness is not going to die. Chaitanya or consciousness is something which has no birth, no death. So once a person realizes that, he goes beyond mrityu. So that is the meaning here. Bhitam prapannam paripahi mrutyoho. Mrutyoh paripahi. Mrutyoho is in the Panchami Vibhakti. Panchami Vibhakti is what? Ablative case. Ablative case. So mrutyoh paripahi. From that mrityu, you please save me. So that means from that ignorance, you save me. Drive away that ignorance. That is the meaning here. Mam mrutyoh paripahi. Then what type of person I am, he is explaining in the first line. Durvara samsara davagni taptam. I am that Durvara samsara davagni taptaha. I am heated or scorched. Taptaha. Tapa, tapa means heat. Tapta means heated. I am scorched by what? Samsara davagni. This great fire, huge fire of samsara. And Durvara. Durvara is something which is very, very difficult to avoid. It is very dukkhena varaitum shakyam is durvaram. Dukkhena varaitum shakyam is very, very difficult to avoid it, very difficult to throw it away. So that sort of scorching heat I am undergoing, and I am being scorched by such heat. Then dodhuyamanam duradrushtavataihi. Dodhuyamanam. This is dhui. This root word is dhui. The meaning is company, shaking. Dhui. Avadhuta you say. Avadhuta is one who has shaken off all the bonds, is called Avadhuta. Dhui. Dhui means dhunanam, is called shaking off. So here it is not like that. He is being shaken about. He is being shaken by everything. He has not shaken off. He is being shaken about. So dodhuyamanam duradrushtavataihi. He is being shaken by all winds of misfortune. Duradrushta. Duradrushta is misfortune, isn't it? Adrushta, duradrushta. So he is being tossed about, he is being shaken again and again. Dodhuyamana. Dhui is shaken. Dodhuyamana, that is in grammar we call it yang luki, yang pratyaya, yang. Have you heard it? Yang luki. That is dodhuyamanam, repeatedly being tossed about here and there, repeatedly being shaken by everything. Every day you go out and then every day there is something, some news about something, and then you get shaken. Some news about something to do with our own family, our own problems, day-to-day problems, etc., etc. We are being shaken by everything. So that is it. Dodhuyamanam duradushtavataihi, being shaken about by the winds of so many misfortunes or adversities, you can say, so many adversities. Then by that, bhitam prapannam, I am also fear. I am having fear. Bhita means one who is afraid. Bhitaha, bhaya is fear. Bhitam is one who is afraid. Bhitam prapannam means tvam prapannam, I have come to you seeking refuge, one who has taken refuge in you. Then paripahi means you protect me. Mrityoh paripahi. Then he last line says sharanyam anyad yadaham najane, because I do not know any other person to whom in whom I can take refuge. Sharanyaha means one under whom you can take refuge is called Sharanyaha. Sharanam is refuge. The Sharanyaha is somebody under whom you can take refuge. So that is why Sharanye Triambake Devi you say. Sharanye Triambake Devi means, oh, you are that Sharanya. Sharanyaha is Pumlinga, masculine. Sharanya is feminine, isn't it? So Sharanye means, oh Sharanye, oh, you are the person under whom I can take refuge, in whom I can take refuge. So that is it here. Sharanyam anyad aham na jane. Anyat Sharanyam aham na jane. I don't know any other person, say other than you. Aham na jane means I do not know. So here that mrityoho paripahi. So that is the point. Then, so it shows in this shloka we have seen that the person is aware of the futility of this samsara, and he is also aware that once he realizes this self, he will be going beyond mrityu. Because that Upanishadic sentence also is there, Natasya prana utkramanti. There is a line which we have come across in Shankaracharya's Bhashyam, Natasya pranaha utkramanti. For a realized person, there is no question of transmigration into another body. So that transmigration is called utkramanam. So this utkramanam will not be there because all his senses and all these body-mind complex dissolves. It dissolves and dissolves into their original causes. So that is it. Then the next shloka also is about, the next shloka is a general observation on the nature of gurus. A general observation not by student, it is a general observation by Shankaracharya about the greatness of gurus. I will read. Shanta mahanto nivasanti santo vasantavallokahitam charantah tirna swayam bhima bhavarnavam janana hetunanyapitarayantaha. So here, what type of people are these teachers, these great realized people? They are Shantaha. Santaha nivasanti. That is the overall line is, the all great men, they are like this. So that is the general statement. How are they? Shantaha. This word Shanta I just explained. Those whose minds are not tossed about by desires for external things, they are Shantas. Mahantaha. Mahan means great. Mahantau, Mahantaha. That is great, eminent people. That is those who have realized. Here it does not mean rich people or billionaires. It means realized people. Then Nivasanti. Nivasanti means they exist, they stay. Santaha. Santaha also we have come across this word. Santaha is the same as saint. Santaha. Those who are associated with Sat. Sat means that eternal, that undeniable existence is called Sat. That which cannot be negated. So that's those who are staying in that Sat, in that notion of Sat, they are called the Santaha. Then Vasantaval Lokahitam Charantaha. And then they are doing charantaha means doing what? Lokahitam. They are actually doing things which are good for mankind. They are engaged in things which are good for mankind. Like what? Vasantavat. Vasanta Rutu. Among all these seasons, the spring season is the most attractive season. And in that spring season, all beings are happy, all animals are happy, and then you have got fresh crops, etc. All that thing. Spring is such a most welcome season for all of us, isn't it? So like that spring, Vasantavat means like that Vasanta season, Lokahitam Charantaha, they are creating such a pleasant environment. They are creating such a very wonderful environment around them, and then they are doing good for the mankind. Then again, what type of people are these teachers? Tirnaha Swayam Tirnaha. By themselves, they have crossed this ocean of samsara. But still they are doing something for the welfare of mankind, for the good of mankind. But then for them, by themselves, they have already crossed this ocean of samsara. Tirnaha what? Bhima Bhavarnavam. Bhima means fierce. The word Bhima means fierce, very fierce, ferocious. That is what is the meaning of Bhima. Bhima means fierce, ferocious. Bhima Bhavarnavam. What is this ferocious thing? Bhava Arnavam. Arnavam also is ocean. We are having so many metaphors about ocean here. Bhavarnavam, Bhava Sagara, Bhavarnava, all these things are there. Arnava is ocean. Bhavarnava means this ocean, this existence, this life which is like an ocean. This existence, this samsara which is like an ocean. So this particular ocean, they have tirnaha, they have crossed over that ocean. And then Janan Ahetuna Anyanapi Tarayantaha. Anyan Janan Tarayantaha. Anyan Janan Tarayantaha means who are helping others also to cross over. Helping others also. Anyan Janan means others also. Helping Tarayantaha. Ahetuna. Ahetuna is what? Without any motive. Without any agenda, without any motive, they are teaching. Ahetuna Anyanapi Tarayantaha. So they are helping other people also to say cross over this ocean of samsara. So this is only this beautiful line. Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santaha. Nice alliteration, etc. Vasanta Valloka Hitancharantaha. So beautiful alliteration, etc. Tirnaha Swayam. On their by themselves they have crossed over the fierce ocean of samsara, and then they also help others to cross over this ocean, and then their help is without any motive, without any sort of agenda. Then the next sentence also is, next shloka also is about a general observation by Shankaracharya on the teachers. Ayam svabhavasvata yat parashramaapanoda pravanam mahatmanam Sudham Shuresha Swayamarka Karkasha Prabhavitaptam Avatikshitim Kila. So Sudham Shuresha Swayamarka Karkasha Prabhavitaptam Avatikshitim Kila. So this is Shankaracharya is saying, I am Swabhavaha. Yeah, this is the very nature of these people. The first shloka, the earlier shloka talked about Shanta, Mahantaha, these great people, they are like this. He made an observation. Then he is further adding that this is the real nature, this is their nature, there is no need to wonder. So that is the meaning. Ayam Swabhavaha, Mahatmanam Swabhavaha. This is the great Swabhava, this is the very nature of these great people. Swabhavaha, Swatayeva. Swatayeva means by themselves, that is their nature. Swataha means their very nature, that is it. Then Swatayeva, what is that very nature? Yet Parashramaapanoda Pravanam. Paresham Shramasya Apanodanam. Shrama means strain, their dukkha, sorrow. Parashrama, Paresham Shrama, the sorrow of others. Apanodanam means to remove. Their pravana means their tendency or nature. Their tendency or nature is to remove the sorrows of others. So that is the overall meaning of Parashramaapanoda Pravanam. Parashramaapanoda Pravanam means their tendency is to remove the sorrows of others. Parashrama Apanodanam means to remove. Then Mahatmanam Swabhavaha Ayam. What is that? This sort of helping others. Then Sudhamshu Reshaha. And again one more comparison. He is like the moon. Sudhamshuhu. Sudha means nectar, isn't it? Amshu means the ray. The rays of nectar. Rays, R-A-Y-S, rays. Rays of nectar. So this moon is as though showering the rays of nectar, keeping us cool, keeping us pleasant, keeping us happy. So when during summer, when all through the day we are scorched by sun's heat, And then when we see, when we have the moonlight, then we feel happy in the moonlight, because the moonlight gives us some coolness and some happiness. It is such a pleasant thing. So that is the point here. Sudhamshuhu, that is a person who is having the nectar of, the rays of nectar. The person who has the rays of nectar is Sudhamshuhu. Amshu means ray. Then Sudhamshu Resha. Resha means this person, who, the Guru. The Guru is like that moon. Sudhamshu Resha, what is he doing? Swayam Arka Karkasha Prabhabhitaptam Chitim Avati. So he protects Avati. Avati, the second line, Avati. Avati means protects. Protects the Chitim. Chitim is earth. Chitim is earth. He protects the earth. What type of earth? Arka Karkasha Prabhabhitaptam Chitim. Arka Karkasha, that is the cruel rays of the sun. Arka Karkasha Prabha, the cruel, the harsh, let us not say cruel, the harsh, say hot, scorching rays of the sun. So Prabhabhitaptam Shitim. Shitim is Bhumi. The Bhumi means earth. So he cools down the earth which has been scorched by the scorching heat of the sun. So the scorching heat of the sun is compared to, or rather all the worldly troubles and all these troubles are compared to the scorching heat of the sun. We talk about the Tapatraya. Tapatraya means Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika and Adhyatma. I explained in the last class. So this is called Tapatraya, the threefold worries, threefold sorrows, let us say. So these threefold sorrows, they are also there. So in addition to these threefold, in these threefold worries only, all other worries come in. They fall into one of these categories. So Arka is Surya. Arka Karkasha. Karkasha means harsh. So in order to explain the harshness, the poetry also becomes harsh. So usually the poets, what they do, they pick the words which are necessary to convey a particular meaning. So when he has to convey that harshness, the harshness is seen in the shloka also. Arka Karkasha Prabhabhitaptam Avatikshitim Kila. Arka Karkasha Prabha. Prabha means that Prabha, Prakashena Bhasa, that huge light, big light, and Arka Karkasha. So the sentence also becomes Karkasha. Karkasha means harsh, I told you. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So Sudhamshuhu Chitim Avati, that is the basic line. That is, moon is protecting the earth. And similarly, the Guru also is protecting all the people who are scorched by the heat of samsara. That is the point. Then the next shloka is again a slightly bigger shloka. This is called Shardula Vrittam. In poetry we call it Shardulam. Brahmanandarasanubhuti kalitaih putaih sushitaih sitaih yushmadvakkalashodjhitaih shruti sukhair vakyamrutaih sechaya santaptam bhavata padavadahanajvalabhirenam prabho धन्यास्ते भवदी क्षण क्षणगते पात्रीकृता स्वीकृता. A long poem. So we have to slightly break, because I told you the poetry here is, very impressive. Brahmananda Rasanubhuti Kalitaihi. The overall sentence here is, Hey Prabho. This is third line, end of the third line you see. Santaptam bhavata padavadahanajvala bhirenam Prabho. Hey Prabho. That is the Sambodhana. That is addressing the teacher. Hey Prabho, O Lord, O revered Sir. Prabho, Tava Vakyamrutaihi Sechaya. You saturate me. Sechaya. Sechanam means sprinkling some water. Something which is very, very hot, you sprinkle some water and make it cool. So that is called Sechanam. Or rather, plant is there. Plant, you pour some water, you sprinkle some water, pour some water, and that is called Sechanam. Sechanam of that plant. So that is Sechanam. So, Mam Sechaya, you saturate me with what? Tava Vakyamrutaihi, by the nectar of your speech. By the nectar of your speech, you please cool me down. I am being scorched by all these problems of this world. You cool me down by your words of nectar. So that is what is the overall meaning. By the nectar of your words. So then, what type of words are yours? So there are some adjectives to describe what type of words or the what type of words the teacher is using. That is Brahmananda Rasanubhuti Kalitaihi, all these Kalitaihi Vakyaihi. That is Brahmananda, the bliss of Brahman. Rasa Anubhuti, he has realized. It is not as though he has theoretically known or scholastically he is aware of it, but a person who is in that bliss, who is enjoying the bliss of Brahman. Rasanubhuti, Brahmananda is a rasa. You see, whenever you are happy, when you see a very, very excellent, say film, let us say, a very, very excellent film, a great work of art, let us say. If you see a great work of art, there is some sort of rasa in us, that rasanubhuti. That is, it may be Shrungara, it may be Veera, it may be any other Karuna rasa. If you read Ramayana, you get that Karuna rasa. So that rasa, Anubhuti is you experience it. So like that, he is experiencing that bliss of Brahman. Rasanubhuti Kalitaihi. So the words are associated, the words of the teacher, they are associated. Kalita means associated. Kalitaihi, Putaihi. Putaihi means sanctified. Sanctified, Puta. Pavitrikuta. Pavitram, you know, Pavitra is pure. Putaihi. Putaihi by what? Putaihi by, again, because say his words speak about Brahman only. So that means they are so sacred. Sacred in that sense also. They are sanctified, they are sacred. Then Sushitaihi. Sushitaihi. Shita, you know, Shita means cool. Sushitaihi. Because they give relief from all this heat. All your words are going to give relief from this heat. So that is why it is called Shitaihi. Sitaihi. Of course, there is a Pathantaram here. Sushitair Yutaihi. Sushitaihi Yutaihi. Yutaihi, again it is a repetition of Kalitaihi. So instead of Kalitaihi, Yutaihi, I am following that Shrungeri version. Shrungeri version says Sushitaihi Sitaihi. What is your big saying? Sitaihi. Sita means white. Sushitaihi Sitaihi. Sita, you know, Sita. Shita is different, Sita is different. Shita means cool. Sita. Sha and Sa. Sha as in Sharada. Sa as in Saraswati. So this Sa, Sita. Sita is white. That is, what is this white? We know that Sattva, Rajas and Tamoguna. Sattva guna, whiteness represents Sattva guna. Then red represents Rajoguna. And Tamoguna, black represents Tamoguna. So it is not any comment on any black people or anything like that. Just like that, it is a notation given. Sattva, Rajas, Tamoguna. So here, Sushi, Sitaihi. Sita refers to Sattva guna. It is referring to, we need not explain Sattva guna again. Sattva, Rajas and Tamo guna. So he is somebody who is leading us on the path of Sattva guna. So by removing this Rajas and Tamas, and then his words are also exuding that Sattva nature. So Brahmananda Rasanubhuti Kalitaihi, they are associated with this Brahmananda. Then they are also pure. Then Sushitaihi, they are cooling us from this Bhavatapa, from this heat, scorching heat of this, all these worries of the world. And then Sitaihi, they are devoid of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Then Yushmad Vakkalashodjhitaihi. Yushmad Vakkalashodjhitaihi, that is, they are poured out from your Vak Kalasha. They are poured out from your mouth. For this mouth, he is using a word called Vak Kalasha. Kalasha is the same as Kalasha, it is a sacred vessel when you keep it in puja. Suppose Kalasha Prarthana, Kalasha Pratisthapana, we say Kalasha. So this Kalasha is the same as in English also they have got another word called chalice, C-H-A-L-I-C-E, chalice, is the same as Kalasha, Kalasha and chalice. So this Vak Kalasha, this mouth is compared to this Vak Kalasha from out of which words are poured out. Words flow out, words are poured out. Vak Kalashodjhitaihi, they are poured out from the mouth, they are poured out from your Vak Kalasha, this sacred chalice. Because what he is uttering is also all sacred words only. What he is uttering is something leading to Brahmagyana. So that is why his whatever teaching he is going to give is being glorified. Yushmad Vakkalashodjitaihi, words which are poured out from your Vakkalasha, from your sacred, that chalice of yours. Then Shruti Sukhaihi, and they are also very, very soothing to the ear. Shruti means Shravana. Shruti Sukhaihi, they are, our Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami also has given the same meaning. Shruti means for hearing, he said. Nothing to do with Shruti or anything. Shruti Sukhaihi, maybe you can take that meaning also in accordance with the Shruti, whatever it is. But here it is, Shruti Sukhaihi is very, very soothing to the ear. They are removing all my worries, that in that sense. Then Vakyamrutaishechaya, Vakyamrutaihi, your Amruta Vak, that is what your saturate me with by sprinkling, saturate me with your words of nectar, with your Vakya. Vakya means it is actually a sentence. You can say words also. Your words of nectar, by such words, by such sentences, by such teaching, you saturate me, you sprinkle your that Vakyamrutam on me. Then what type of fellow I am, he is explaining. Who am I? Santaptam, I am scorched. Santaptaha. Mam santaptam. This is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. I am santapta. That is samyak taptaha. Very greatly torched. Very greatly scorched rather. Not torched. Very greatly scorched. Santaptaha. By what? Bhavata padavadahanajvalabhihi. Bhavatapa. Bhava means being, existence. Bhavatapa. Tapa means this heat of this existence. Then this is Davadahana Jvalabhi, Davanala. It is like a wild fire. Davanala Jvalabhi, by the flames of this wild fire called this existence. The flames of the wild fire called existence. Bhavatapa Davadahana Jvalabhi, Yenam Santaptam, Yenam means this person. He is referring to himself as this person. Please save this fellow. Sometimes we say, save this man, save this fellow, in that tone. Enam means this person. He is not referring to any other person, he is referring to himself. This me, this fellow who is scorched like this. Enam santaptam he prabho uddhara. So that is the meaning. Enam santaptam. Then he says, dhanyaste, and those who have been accepted by you as students, they are really dhanyaha. They are really, dhanya means what? They are blessed, you can say, blessed. Dhanyaste, dhanyaha. You know the word dhanya? Yeah. You say, sometimes people say dhanyosmi. Dhanyosmi means, oh, I am very highly thankful to you. I am blessed in that sense. Dhanyaha te bhavad ikshana kshanagate patri kurtaha. That is, those who have been made eligible. Patri kurtaha. Patra means what? Patra means a person who is eligible. Patri kurta means one who has been made eligible. That is, one who has been accepted by you. Accepted by you. Svikrutaha. Svikrutaha also is accepted by you. Patri kurtaha. That is, made eligible or made deserving. Then those who have been selected by you, those who have been made deserving by you, by doing what? Bhavad ikshana kshanagate. Ikshana means look. Ikshana kshanagati. A momentary passing of your glance. That is kshanagati. A passing, just a passing look. A momentary passing look of yours. By the momentary passing look of yours, whoever has been selected by you, whoever has been blessed by you, they are really blessed people. Whoever have been seen by you or by you, even by a fleeting look, they are all blessed by you. So this is basically again praising the teacher. Dhanyaste bhavadi kshana kshanagati. Kshanagati. Kshana means a moment. Kshanagati means a momentary passing of your glance on me. So then what is he asking? The student is asking, Katham tareyam bhava sindhumetam kava gatirme katamostyupayah janena kinchit krupaya vamam prabho samsara dukkha kshatimatanushva. Did I read too fast? Maybe I have to read slowly. Katham tareyam bhava sindhumetam etam bhava sindhum katham tareyam. This particular bhava sindhu, this ocean of existence, bhava, that existence, the ocean of being, how can I cross over? Katham tareyam, how can I cross over? Then kavagatihi me to me, kavagatihi. What is the route? What is the way? Gati means margam. Gati means way. What is the way to cross over? What is the means? Katamosupayah. Katamaha upayah asti. What type of plan? What type of strategy? What type of means is there? Then janena kinchit. I do not know anything. Aham kinchit na jane. I don't know anything. Krupaya vamam prabho. Mam, me, hey Prabho, Krupaya ava, Krupaya va, there is a avagraha there, Krupaya va, ava means what? Raksha. Sahana avatu, sahana upanaktu, avatu means saha rakshatu. So let him, may that Supreme Almighty, saha now, both of us, avatu, that is, ava means protect, save me, that is it. Krupaya means by your kindness. Krupa is kindness. Krupaya vamam prabho. Samsara dukkha kshatim atanushva. Atanoti. Atanushva means you bring about. Bring about what? Samsara dukkha kshatim. You bring about an end to the sorrow of this samsara. Samsara dukkha. Dukkha means sorrow. Is it clear? The sentences are slightly, we have to know a little bit of Sanskrit to appreciate. Samsara dukkha kshatimatanushva. Kshati means end. Kshati means, say, decline, end. So you bring about an end to the sorrow of this samsara. Dukkha kshatimatanushva. So he is requesting the teacher. Then the teacher, what is this teacher supposed to do? Mahatma, Mahatma has to give him some sort of protection, some sort of assurance. What type of assurance he is giving? Tatha vadantam sharanagatam swam samsaradavaanalatapataptam nirikshya karunya rasardra drushtya dadyad abhitim sahasa Mahatma. That Mahatma, what is he supposed to do? Mahatma abhitim dadyat. Abhiti means fearlessness. Bhiti is fear. Abhiti is fearlessness. Abhayam we say. In temples also you find this Abhaya Mudra. There is one is called Abhaya Mudra and another Mudra called Varada Mudra. There is Abhaya and Varada. Usually the God's four hands, they are said to represent Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, that is the four human goals. They are represented as the four hands of the God whom we see in a temple. So this is Abhaya. Abhaya is fearlessness. Abhaya, that fearlessness is in various shades. So a person who is worried, he goes to a temple and then he worships the God and then gets some little bit of psychological encouragement. That is a fear at a lower level. Then fear at the real philosophical level is when he realizes the Supreme, he becomes totally fearless. So that is Abhaya. So that Abhaya is in several levels. Then Varada. This is the Dharma, Artha. This is Artha. Artha is what? All types of boons you want. I want my son to get a seat in so and so. I want my daughter to get married, etc., etc. All our desires are there. I want some more money for buying this. So various things. So this is Artha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So these four things. Kama is represented by some sort of flower. Then Moksha is represented by this. Dharma is represented by some sort of weapon in his hand. Isn't it? Dharma means order, isn't it? Social order has to be maintained by the rod only. The king's scepter. So it is like that. So anyway, here Mahatma abhitim dadyat. Mahatma, this great man, has to give him fearlessness. That means give means assure him. Yeah, don't worry, I am going to teach you. That sort of assurance. Tatha vadantam. So sharanagatam. So to that person who has told like this, told like what we have seen in earlier lines. Oh, how can I cross over the ocean of samsara? I am like this. I am scorched by the heat of this worldly sorrows, etc., etc. So to such person who expresses his agony, who expresses his grief, the teacher has Sharanagata also, who has taken refuge in him. Sharanagatam swam Sharanagatam, one who has taken refuge in him. And what type of person is that student? Samsara davanalata pataptam. Again, the great fire, the huge fire called samsara, and then this man is being scorched by that particular heat. Then the teacher has to look at him, nirikshya, having looked at him, how karunya rasardra drushtya, karunya, with drushti, with looks full of compassion, looks filled with compassion, karunya rasardra drushtya, karunya rasa ardra, and the looks are also, the eyes are also wet with this rasa. In fact, the tears of joy you see sometimes, so like that, not exactly tears you can say, rasa ardra drushtya. When you are very, very compassionate, sometimes you may get slightly that tears also you can say there is nothing wrong. Yeah, that sort of, say with such looks, he has to look at him, and then abhitim dadyat. Dadyat means one has to give, that Mahatma has to give. Sahasa means without delay. Without delay, he has to give him abhiti, he has to give him assurance. Don't worry, I am going to teach you. So karunya rasardra drushtya, with such looks, wet with such tears of compassion, so he has to give assurance to that student. Then then again next sentence also, next mantra also, next shloka is continuing in the same way, what the teacher has to do. Vidwan satasmad upasatti miyushe, not tasmad, vidwan satasma upasatti miyushe, mumukshave sadhu yatoktakarine, prashanta chittaya shamanvitaya, tattvopadesham krupayaiva kuryat. Saha vidwan, that pandita, that particular scholar, that particular guru, upadesham kuryat means he has to teach. Kuryat means he has to do what? Upadesham. Upadesham means instruction. Upadesha, upadishati. Upadesha means giving instruction. Upadesham kuryat. What type of person he is? He is vidwan sa tasma. Tasma is tasmai. Tasmai in sandhi it becomes tasma. Tasmai means to him, to that person. Then what type of person is he? Upasatti miyushe, one who has done that upasadanam. Upasadanam is same, upasatti is same. Upasatti miyushe, one who has approached you with that humility, with all that humility. Upasadanam, Guru Upasadanam, we have seen that word Guru Upasadanam. Upasadanam is going to the teacher and sitting in front of the Guru. Sitting in front of the Guru, that is upasatti miyushe, one who has sought protection under you. Then mumukshave, the one who is mumukshu. Mumukshu, for the word mumukshu, the Chaturthi Vibhakti dative case is mumukshave, to that mumukshu. Then sadhu, yathoktakarine, he is also a sadhu. Yathoktakari, yathoktakari literally means does whatever at your bidding. Yatha uktam tat karoti. So that does not mean that you go and bring that, not in such sense. You go and bring that stool, go and bring this stick, go and bring this, not like that. Yathoktakari means the person who has performed all things as said in the Dharma Shastra. That is, he is a person who has attained the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, who is equipped with the tapas, etc., and then tapas, shama, dama, etc. A person who is equipped with all that, that is, in other words, a person who has done dharma anushtanam perfectly. A person who has done anushtanam is what? That is observation. He has observed all rules of dharma, let us say. He has observed all the tenets of dharma. So such a person is yathoktakari. Does not mean that you go and climb that hill, not like that. So yathoktakari is somebody who has done dharmanushtanam. To such student, and also the students, some more adjectives are there for the student. Prashanta chittaya. This man's mind also is tranquil. Not out of realization, but still it is a preparatory stage. Preparatory stage Shanti is different, and final stage Shanti is different. That final stage Shanti is due to total realization. The preparatory stage of Shanti is a sort of mano nigraha, some sort of control, shama, dama, so that level only. It is a preparatory stage. Prashanta chittaya, shamanvitaya, one who is also equipped with that, who is associated, not associated, he is equipped with that shama, control of mind. Tattvopadesham krupayaiva kuryat. Krupayaiva, that is, with a great amount of kindness, the man has to teach. So kindness is needed because that student, suppose he puts a question, this man should have the patience to answer that question. So a lot of krupa is also needed for a teacher. So teacher should not get irritated. So the teacher, in fact, because such a teacher who is a Daya Sindhu, who cannot get irritated. So that is why he has to do Tattvopadesham, Tattvasya Upadesham. That the reality, the nature of that reality, that has to be taught to this person. So we will continue in the next class. Harihi Om Tat Sat.